Hey everyone, welcome to Reigniting Small Business. I'm Laura Richards and I'm here today with Patrick Lee, CEO of the Spark Business Institute. And today we're joined by Nicole Kelsch. She's the Artistic Director for the Ballet Theatre of Maryland. So Patrick, why don't you start us off by telling us how you got involved with Ballet Theatre of Maryland, and then we can have Nicole introduce herself and give us some background.
So for those of you who know me well, I'm highly involved in nonprofits as part of my practice, and I do a lot of work both for pay and also as a volunteer in nonprofits. And I do a lot of work in the arts. And it turned out that the Ballet Theatre of Maryland was about to undergo a major change in its organization, its leadership. And they were given a grant to bring me on to help with that transition. And it was sort of a unique opportunity because I got to come in as one of the shining lights of the ballet scene in our area, who had been the head of the Ballet Theatre of Maryland for 17 years. Diana Quatto was getting ready to retire. And with that was going to be a transition to new leadership. Turns out one of her super students, we'll say, who she mentored, and that's Nicole. And Nicole was getting ready to come in, and I was brought in to sort of help transition that, make this all work. And obviously, we timed this really well. So Nicole, you had no expectation when you signed on to this that you were signing on in 2020, the year of COVID and everything else. So before we jump into that, though, let's do this. Why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself, why you would be assuming this role, and then give us a little bit of history on the Ballet Theatre of Maryland also.
Sure. So I had danced with Ballet Theatre of Maryland for 15 years. And prior to that, I had danced in 3 other companies in the United States. And through the course of my time at Ballet Theatre of Maryland, Diana started mentoring me. I was interested in how the school ran, so I started with that. I started teaching, and then I became the school administrator, and then that turned into the school principal. And then I also started to be involved with the running of the company. So I also was the ballet mistress for a couple of years, which means that I do a lot of administrative work for Diana in regards to the company, make sure they had their schedules, knew what was going on, typed up casting, things like that, but then also would rehearse the company if she couldn't be there. And so probably in the past 2 years, she really started to get me ready to take over the company as she got ready to retire.
And so the Ballet Theatre itself, give us a little history of that. I know that you know some of the history going back some years, but it's been around for decades.
Yes, 1978, it was founded by Eddie Stewart, and he was a very beloved teacher and choreographer. And then he passed away, I believe in 2000. And at that point they had an interim director. I'm not 100% sure of the timeline because I think Diana came in 2005. So it might've been a little later that he passed. But so there's really only been 2 directors so far until me. The interim director was, I believe, only for a season.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I know that you paid a little bit of tribute to Eddie.
Yes.
The very first production that you were officially the artistic director for, I think was one of his, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I think that there was a lot of loss felt when he passed. And so with the transition at that time, it wasn't maybe as welcome as I feel mine was. And so I wanted to make sure that all the people who had danced under Eddie were remembered as we transition again, and that they know that his legacy will still remain with Ballet Theatre of Maryland. So.
Okay. So one of the things that's intriguing and why I thought this would be a great conversation, everything about how much organizations in our community are struggling during all of this, especially nonprofits, especially arts nonprofits that want to be performing, right? I mean, we can't perform in front of audiences, we can't be enclosed. And I've watched a lot of them struggle with what do we do now? And I found that a lot of what you've done is incredibly innovative on very quick notice. I mean, you just, we've got your transition, you're just assuming the roles, and all of a sudden you're thrown into this. And I was very impressed with that innovation. So tell us some of the unique things that you guys have done, because I think it's really impressive.
So starting in the summer, we built an outdoor dance studio in our parking lot. And so that involved creating a dance floor that was safe for the dancers to jump on, to dance in their point shoes on, so that we could continue training the students in the summer intensive, but then also the dancers who are coming into the professional company and the returning dancers. So that was a really important thing when we were not able to be inside, that we had that space. And interestingly, it was not high-tech dance floor equipment. We used thick fiberboard for the floor and foam gym floor mats to cushion it so that when they jumped, it wasn't too hard. And so that actually only just got taken down. The parents loved that we could provide outdoor classes for their kids during this. And so it lasted until the beginning of November. And then, yeah. And then,
So one of the unique things about Ballet Theater is that you have two main areas, right? You've got the professional dance thing, and then you've also got this teaching young folks. So that's an innovation on the teaching of folks at camps and all that. But what have you done innovative-wise on the performance side?
So we performed outdoors for Dracula. In 3 different venues, actually. We built the same type of floor at 2 of them. One, it was quite a challenge because the floor at the venue was like this. It was not even. So we had to use a lot of stuff to even out that floor. And then there is a small stage outdoors in downtown Annapolis that we also used for Dracula. And now we're in the middle of Nutcracker, and obviously outside right now is not really an option. It's a little too cold. So we are inside of an abandoned gym, and we will be dancing live. And the show will be streamed live out to an LED screen in a parking lot where people are watching drive-through style.
Okay. Folks don't have to watch it, correct?
Right. They can also live stream it in their homes.
Okay.
That is really something to point out too, Nicole, is that the Ballet Theatre of Maryland is a professional company. So these dancers, you're employing them at a time where most performers probably aren't getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
So
I was, there were questions early on, probably around May, when I have to get them their contracts. Are you sure that you should bring them back? Are you sure you're going to be able to do something? And I said, we have to try. We can't say, no, we're just going to give this up. And I think, I know they're very thankful. I see the things they put out on social media, thankful to have a place to dance, thankful that I am dancing, because a lot of their friends are not. And I mean, I'm thankful that we've been able to do that so far.
So I have 2 questions. You mentioned Dracula, and I know that's something that you did at the Hammond Harwood House, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So for our listeners and viewers that don't know, that's a local historic property that's run by the Maryland Historical Society. Is that right?
I believe so.
Okay. And how did that partnership come to be? And was that something that you would have done before the pandemic as well?
Well, we were talking about it before the pandemic. We started talking last January about that, about a partnership there. and we have a board member who is also a member at Hammond Harwood House, and a few connections there. So yes, it was something that was in the works prior to the pandemic, and thankfully an outdoor venue, we were able to continue to make it happen with the audience social distance.
Really very cool.
I think that one of the things that surprises people is the level of desire of folks to actually risk things and go see performances, right? So I know when this whole COVID thing started, that there was worry that you were not going to be able to get audiences or do any of that, but we found sort of the exact opposite. I mean, you pretty much sold out most of those.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we're very restricted, obviously, in our numbers that we can have, but yeah, I didn't expect. We announced one of the shows at Maryland Hall the Monday before the show was on Friday, and we just about sold that show out. I expected we have no press going out about it. Like, there's no way, but it did, yeah. And so that's great. I think being able to provide art to people during a time like this and in a safe manner, it allows them to still have that beauty in their lives.
And that's, I think, really important, because these are the times when we all feel that pressure, right? Like, everybody, those who are quarantining are they're stuck. They feel a certain way. It's a mindset piece. It's getting old. There's nothing but doom and gloom being talked about all the time. And even those who aren't necessarily quarantining, they don't have the options because the government regulations and stuff don't allow you to just do whatever, don't allow the movie theaters to be open. So
right.
All of your efforts, they're not just frivolous, and they're not just for the sake of BTM. I mean, this is really providing a service that I think people are even more appreciative of during these times in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think as a part of our community, we have to make sure that we're providing for them and, doing what we say we're going to do. If I say I'm a ballet company, but I'm not doing ballet, nobody's doing ballet in my building, then am I a ballet? I mean, I can say I am, but we have to, make sure that we're providing our service to our community. That's really first. And then after that, I'm happy to be keeping the dancers dancing and the students dancing and all of that, which the students are our community. So that goes together, but.
So I know that Hammond Harwood was one of the sort of obvious team ups that happened during this, but you've also had some unexpected things. I mean, you've had vendors who have forgiven debt and all in exchange for supporting BTM, either for a donation receipt or as sponsors and so on. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about who's helped out and the unexpected support you've gotten.
Well, I would say first you're the first one and the biggest one who's helped out, but Dance Media has helped us a lot. They helped with our debt that we had, and we sort of partnered with them and made them a media sponsor. Trying to.
Well, I
know you probably have them better than
a local business. WRMR was they were very like we just want to help. What else can we do for you? How can we make sure you guys are okay? I think it's really nice when the local community bands together in that sort of way. Yeah,
it is. It really is.
So, Nicole, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what you said, which I think is so important, and Patrick and I discussed this earlier today, is that you're absolutely right when you talk about the significance of cultural arts, entertainment, and the withdrawal and isolation that we all feel during the pandemic probably exacerbates our desire for those things, and yet there's so few opportunities for it. So I know we have an opportunity this weekend. Tell me about what the opportunity is. How do people find out about it? How do we access it? And let's get a plug in quickly for
Sure. So we are at the Annapolis Town Center this Saturday and Sunday, the 12th and 13th of December at 2 p.m. and 6:30 each day. The Gordon Biersch parking lot is where the LED screen and the cars will be. And then we are in the 24-hour fitness center in the basketball court area, actually. And
a lot of improvisation going on there to get that done, I imagine.
Yes, there is. But we're very thankful to the town center for working with us on this and providing a space, because we really don't have a theater that we can go into at this time, unfortunately. So it's very helpful, and you can find tickets at balletmaryland.org.
Awesome. So everybody out there listening, balletmaryland.org, get your tickets for this weekend show. Nicole, one of the things that it occurs to me that I definitely want to say is how fortuitous it is that you are the artistic director right now at this crossroads, because you're being new to it may be one of the reasons why you've been able to have such a nimble approach, because you're really rolling with the punches. Is there anything that you would want to say about that?
I wouldn't disagree. I think I've never, done it before. Like, I've not produced a show until this year. And I think I spend a lot of hours. I go for walks a lot, and that's what helps me de-stress. And while I go on those walks, I just go through scenarios like, if this were to happen, what would I do? If we, how am I still going to get this show out to the public? What's going to happen? So, and I think, I think because I'm new at it, I have a fresh determination to definitely make it happen at all costs.
Yeah, it's rising to the challenge, right? It's there for the taking. So you're new to it, but the Nutcracker is a staple of the arts community from the BTM for many, many, many years. And in all this time of COVID, negative 2020. We're trying to provide a little bit of holiday cheer here. So we wanted to sort of showcase the Nutcracker and what you folks are doing. So how long has Ballet Theatre of Maryland been doing that? And I believe that is your largest attended production. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I would assume we've been doing it since 1978. Not the same version, but I would guess. I don't have the actual history on that for sure, but and Diana's version, which is the one that we're doing, has been performed for 17 years. So I think this will be the 17th year. So maybe the 18th. It might be the 18th.
Yeah. So is it safe to say that thousands and thousands and thousands of people have appreciated the BTM?
I would say so, yes. Yes.
Now, have you had to do any adaptations for this year? I mean, yeah. I think you did.
Yes, we have. So it's shorter. All of our shows have been shortened to about an hour and 15 minutes so that there's not a need for an intermission, which means that I had to work with Diana to cut some parts out, see what she really wanted in and what I really wanted in, and come to a, it was pretty easy, not too difficult to do that. But we don't have the same sets because we're not in a theater. We've done, I think, a pretty good job of working with what we have and creating the atmosphere for each of the different scenes so that it's not simply a black backdrop, but we don't have the very large backdrops. There just wasn't a way to change them out from scene to scene in the space that we're in. That's probably the main part. We are all wearing masks when we dance. Well, I'm not dancing, but when they dance, they're wearing masks. Up to this point, with the professionals, so there is physical interaction between the professionals and the students who are in the show. Up to this point, that has not been rehearsed.
Okay.
So they pretend to lift up a child, but they don't actually lift the child up. So they're
minimizing. Yeah.
Yes, as much as possible. I also did reduce the rehearsal schedule quite significantly to just reduce the amount of time that we're in contact with each other. And to reduce also fatigue. What happens a lot during Nutcracker, the dancers get run down because of long, late hours, and inevitably some sort of flu or illness starts to go through the whole company and the students. Last year at this time, I think we were actually wearing surgical masks in the theater because there was a terrible flu going through the company, and people were having to stay home, not dance the weekend. And so that's not something that's like even unusual. So I've tried to reduce the hours that they're working so that we can hopefully have everyone rested and their immune systems still working.
Okay. Well, this is so everybody listening here. This is your chance to still have a little bit of holiday cheer. Go see the Nutcracker. Attend. It'll be a live stream, so you can even do it from your home if you want to do that. And we are enticing you with, yes, there can be holiday cheer in 2020.
Yeah. Nicole, thank you for coming on the podcast today. It's been awesome to have you. And really, it's nice to have an uplifting story. You're getting it done. You're finding new ways, being innovative, like a lot of other small businesses we know out there, and nonprofits as well. So, congratulations. And I'm sorry your first year has been such a tough one, but I bet you next year will be a whole lot easier.
We'll see. I hope so, but thank you for having me.
All right, you all turn in to see us next week for another Reigniting Small Business podcast. We're signing out for today.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.